hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quota podcast. My name is Mpho not Mpho Mariki, but that's my Twitter handle, so you can find me on Twitter. And we've got Tim Dale Lace with me here to talk about all things with the Proteas in the UK. Now, the T20, the ODIs are done. And the real reason why we're in the UK has now made its way, has come to the fore. We thought it's been very quick, that little break, Tim. But now the test series begins. We've got the first test at Lords. I'm excited. I know you're excited. There are lots of South Africans in the UK. My friends are in the UK. There's journos in press rooms now doing press conferences. Obviously now the hybrid models is being used, but we're here. It's the red ball. It's the white clothing. It's Castore versus Castore. Who's wearing it better? South Africa's back. Dean Alga's being the feisty Dean Alga we know. There's no Temba, but there's a whole lot of drama, and that's why we're here. Tim, how are you doing? It's test week. Everyone's excited. I'm excited about cricket again. How are you feeling?
Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for since they arrived in the UK. All good, mate, all good. But looking forward to the test match now. It's 2 days out, but now I want it to start now. I want to get down to it and see what transpires.
Mm. Yes, and I think that's the thing. And so today we're going to talk our predictions, our preview. We're going to talk our teams. We're going to do all these things to discuss. But most importantly, South Africa got thrashed by the England Lions badly. It happened again in the ODIs, and they turned it around. Tim, how much of this can you put to rust over everything else?
I think in terms of certain individuals, in terms of the batting, I don't think you can put down to rust because they've been playing cricket. They've been playing cricket. The only rust that you can apply is to South Africa's bowling performance. In particular, individuals like Sturman, Ulafe, who's now injured, and Sipamla. They had not been playing an awful lot of cricket. So there is an element of that. As much as I was disappointed in their performance, there is certainly an element of the fact that they haven't played an awful lot of cricket leading up to that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think for me that was the one. But I'm happy because remember, normally in the COVID world we weren't able to play these warm up matches, and it kind of made it hard for teams to. Then you have guys switching it on day one of a test match, and that time. England, who played tests for the entire summer, just are like, oh no, we're used to this, and then take games away. And we've seen that even in the India series. South Africa started poorly, and I love the fact that we had a warm-up game because to kind of stop that, to like arrest that, we start badly. We saw that in New Zealand. We saw that against India. We kind of saw that against Bangladesh, but they found out somehow finagled their way into a win. But yeah, so for me, that was the one thing. Let's talk about those performances in that. I know Aiden Markham scored a fighting 88. Ryan Rickleton showed glimpses of some of what we've known. Well, not in this one, but he did that in England. But Kai Zondo actually is the one I'm talking about. Kai Zondo batted really well. That 86 in that first innings was really nice. Rassie van der Dussen kind of proved to us who he was. Advi and Dean Alga, as solid as a rock as a partnership. That 85 in that first innings was worth a lot of gold. But then the bowling just went to and obviously Lungi Ngidi wasn't playing, Kagiso wasn't playing. There's injury concerns around Kagiso. Marco Jansen won for 111. Sipamla and Steelman not for 98. Sipamla not for 127. Olivier 2 for 59. He had the side strain. We'll give him that. Keshav 1 for 169 and Aiden Markham 6 for 91. What do you make of that bowling performance? Because that for me is a massive worry, even though my three starting quicks won't play.
Yeah, look, it's what you just said there. So the three starting quicks they are going to play the test match, we're not playing in this test. So that's a huge caveat. But with the Olafia injury, who's now out of the series, you do have a slight concern. If KG is not past fit for tomorrow, now all indications is that he will be, but he isn't. That's the point. If he isn't past fit, then there's a problem because the guys did not step up. When they came up against Bazball. It's England A, but they came up against Bazball. The England A side had McCallum there before the game, and he told them, if you want to be considered for this, the national side, you have to play the way that the national side are playing. If you want to be considered, I'm not interested if you're going to be nerdling singles. I want you to play brave attacking cricket, and my boy, did they play brave and attacking cricket. My boy. Maharaj, one of the top spin bowlers in the world, went for 7.5 and over. 7.5 and over.
Well,
Now,
he's the CSA Player of the Year, so that must
Yeah.
have been a really weird week for him.
it was because of the character that he is, I think it'll just be water for ducks back. He'll just say, you know what, it was a bad couple of days. That's life. It happens. I've been worried about the backup pace bowlers. I'm a bit concerned. I hope that we're not going to have them at any time in the series. No disservice to them, but if you're looking at them, particularly at somebody like Sturman, I've been saying since he got that test debut that there was a gap between him and test level. There is just a gap. I like the guy. He's a good first-class cricketer. I just think in general that this level is just too much. And he was found wanting. And on a flat surface, he didn't seem to have any particular answer. Again, what also worried me was when things went tough, they reverted back to what they always do, South African bowlers. They reverted to the short ball. And on a flat wicket, it was asking for trouble. It didn't matter that Jansen was bowling round the wicket to the right-hander. It made no difference. Craig Overton in the second innings came in, and I think he made 37 of 13. He hit Jansen for 20 and over with the utmost of ease, no difficulty whatsoever. It's a real concern that the best bowler of the day for South Africa in that game was Olafia, by some distance.
Yeah.
By some distance. He had a good 2 quick earliest wickets caught on the slips, moving the ball away, and he kept going. He kept going. He kept doing what he always does. Kept creating sort of half chances on a flattish wicket, but the rest of them were, it has to be said, found wanting. And when they tried to pitch it up, the further it went. The youngsters that are coming through in England cricket now that are knocking on those doors, they really made a name for themselves against a very reasonable South African attack. And it's certainly alarm bells. From a bowling perspective. For me, it's certainly alarm bells. You put Maharaj to one side and Olafia to side because he's now out of the series. Otherwise, it was alarm bells.
Look, so first innings 433, second innings 672. You thought obviously England with a 230 run lead. It is a 4-day match. It's not a 5-day match, so you don't need to worry. You actually thought South Africa would come out from a batting perspective. Yes, the bowling was horrible, but you thought maybe with the bat it was going to come out in that second innings, but it wasn't to be. The traditional South African batting collapse happened. And it didn't look good, but only for one man. And that man is Aiden Markram. He just stuck around. And let me say this. I can see his talent. And everybody knows. I think the guy is talented. But even in that 88, I felt. And I sent you a message because I watched in between, I think, Rassie getting out and I think Ryan getting out. And he wafted at a wide one. And I was like, oh, Lord. We can't do this. This can't be it. Foot movement wasn't there. He did. He was. I think what the scorecard tells you and what people saw with their eyes is a totally different thing. But look, numbers are numbers, and he put numbers thing. And one thing I'll give to him is that he stuck around, and that's something I could never take away from Aiden is that man's a fighter. That man is a fighter. He hangs on until the end. Even for his like T20 career, his T20 career was like over before it even started, and somehow he found a way to resurrect it. And look, he's a millionaire now, multi-millionaire. Marquee signings around the world, and that's the type of guy he is, and you kind of hope that in the test side. But that 88 and that batting collapse, it just was South Africa trying to emulate something because it felt like they were trying to be very open. They were very open. Nobody, because the thing with South Africa, even in that India series, was that we know we don't have the batting class of the Indians. We also know that we don't have the batting talent that New Zealand has. But what we do have are guys who, can grit it around, stuck it around, and guys who effectively wear bowlers down. And then after that, pick everything off. And that's been the South African way of playing cricket ever since I've been alive. This innings was really interesting. You kind of felt like because the Lions put 672, they were like, we can try this. And it just fell apart. Because even with the aggressive nature that Aiden was playing, I was like, but dude, you don't need to. Look at the results, just get a draw and get up. But maybe they were trying to see if they could try Bazball, but we know these guys aren't Bazball people. But that second innings was weird, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it a lot. Happy for Aiden, but we'll talk about whether we bring him in or not. But what did you make of that second? Because I was just like, this isn't. I would make them run the next day after that.
Yeah. Like, it was. I genuinely think you've got something there. It was. England have scored over 600 and, I don't know, 5 and over throughout the innings, just at the utmost ease. What they forget is the majority of the batsmen had to get themselves in for England. They got themselves in. They got themselves into 30 to 40. They earned the right to then go on and smash it all over the park. Aidan Markram even said it. He even said it when they spoke to him after that after that long day of in the field for South Africa. He said, Harry Brook and Ben Duckett earned the right to play that way because they worked, they got themselves in. Nobody apart from Markram got themselves in. You look at just isolating a couple of dismissals. You look at Karzondo's dismissal. He is trying to hit that out of the county. He's trying to hit it out of the county. It's literally into the next county.
So
He's literally trying to hit. He's trying to hit it into another hemisphere. Instead of just going, I'm on 11. Let's get to 30. Let's get to 40. Let's play normal cricket, and then I can earn the right to take the tuck. Same with Carl Verona. Carl Verona, exactly the same. Pushing too hard, trying to hit the ball into, for 12 instead of 6.
But Tim, isn't that what Bazball is? Isn't that the outside of what England do, but what it does to the opponent? Because they effectively, and this is why Bazball is so successful, they take time out the game. They take time out the game the opposite way that Graham Smith wanted to. Graham Smith took time out of the game by slowing it down, right? He will bat you into a hole. He will try and throw Paul Harris at to try and just slow everything down and just dot balls. Where these guys are like, no, we push the game forward because if you look, South Africa scored 433. Normally in a 4-day game, you would need 2 batting collapses for you to be able to affect a match, a win. The England team scored 672. 1,000 runs in a 4-day game tells me automatically, as a viewer, looking at a scorecard, now this match is going to draw. Unless you get a Pakistani-esque collapse. And England didn't even need to bat twice. That's how horrific it was. And you kind of feel as though they got sucked into, oh snap, these guys accelerated the game. the game is under threat or we are under threat, we need to try and do the same thing, but we don't have the personnel to do it. And I think that's where baseball is so transcendent as to what it does to the opposition in terms of where they want to play. Whereas you're saying to me, no, calm down. Your style still works, just bore them to death. All they've done is that they've made sure that there's either going to be a winner and a loser. You just need to make sure that you're not the loser. And the one way to make sure is not hitting out and trying to match them for pace and acceleration, is they've bought you more time. So get yourself in, bat normally, and you'll get there in the end. And they need to force the game open. So it's kind of like I don't know what analogy, but I could give, but it's kind of like I don't know, but anyway, it's kind of like it's a fight. It's a fight between James Bond and his villain, and they're punching each other. There'll be one time where somebody pushes someone, and they expect a reaction, and you can give them that reaction, but it doesn't have to be the same way. And then there's going to be a moment where they're going to have to force to do it again. And the question is, do they have that second wind? And that's where I think going into this test match, South Africa need to bat within themselves and force England to open the game up a second time. I don't think they have it in them. That is, for me, what this whole thing is they have the energy and the ability to open the game up once. If you meet them, they're going to be sitting in the dressing room going, oh snap, that advantage we created has now gone. It's a marathon. If you come out of the blocks early and the chasing pack catches you, do you have that second wind to do it again? Right? And I don't, and that's something that nobody's ever tested England on. And the problem about it is that when, like in a marathon, when Kipchoge runs out, everyone's like, oh snap, I need to chase him. Whereas the other side is, no, he's there, we can see him. Keep going at your pace, maybe increase it a little bit, and kilometer number 34, we'll catch him. When we catch him, we're winning. He's not. And so for me, that's what I think this South African side fell into the trap against the England Irons, which is why I'm grateful they played them, is that they need to understand that we don't have the legs those guys do. But what they give us is they give us the opportunity, more time to bat. So bat normally. Take time out the game. Make sure that it's a day 5 situation. And if they need to win the game scoring 250 in 30 overs, then let it be 250 in 30 overs. Force them to do it. And if they can, I know it's 30 overs of Lungi, KG, and Anoch. I'm not changing anything. I'm not trying Keshav. I'm throwing my 3 best bowlers at them, and let's see what's going to happen. And so that's kind of felt that second innings was like, guys, you don't have to be like this. A draw is still a respect. Don't lose. And so I really do hope that Mark has seen that, and that they can, because it's about. I think Dean talks about landing the first punch. But the other thing is, what do you do when somebody lands their punch on you? Do you go for the points, or do you want to go for the haymaker? I say go for the points. Just
stay in the fight.
Yeah, keep yourself in the contest. So that's how I see it, and that's how I think this was. And when you look at the baseball, Tim, and you look at how, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to pick an innings where they're going to try and blow you out the water. I think for this Lord's test, it might be that last innings. So how do you think South Africa should navigate baseball? They've seen it now. What are your thoughts around them navigating this?
They have to see what Sapamla and company did in that A game. And as well as, particularly for me, New Zealand. Look at what New Zealand did to them, and do the complete opposite. Literally do the complete opposite. Stick to your plan. Stick to your plan that you have, But you have a plan, particularly to Stokes. You have a plan to uh, Burstoke. You have a plan to Ollie Pope. Don't get sucked in. I think the pitches are going to be predominantly flat. I think the sun, the heat, is going to have made them rather on the flat side of things. I think it's going to be
Mm,
continued throughout the summer. Do not get sucked into the short ball.
mm,
Bairstow and company will want you to get sucked into the old traditional, right, okay, the 85 for no wicket, let's pitch it in the middle of the wicket. We must
mm,
not get sucked into that. We must use that as a rarity, as an option to surprise the batsman that the short ball is there, but not get overboard with it. That is going to be very dangerous. New Zealand tried that and they got absolutely slaughtered. Uh, Absolutely carried all over the field. So they've got to remain, they know what their plans are.
mm-hmm.
Remain what their plans are for England. Don't worry about Bearsler hitting you over cover for six. Okay, fine. It's a six. It's a six. That's fine. He's got the moral victory. But if you stick to your plan, if you stick to your guts, the chances are you will get the wicket. If you pitch the ball on a length, get enough movement, you will get them out. If you get
Mm.
sucked into moving the ball where they want you to move the ball, then it's curtains. Even people like an Unrick and KG, you know,
But that's the South African problem, though,
yeah, pace for
especially
pace
with our bowlers.
is it, pace for pace is fine, but you've got to use it properly. We saw in the white ball format with Unrick, he used the pace, and that's all he did, and he got caned. You've got to use it wisely. Yes, it is a South African problem, and you can bet your bottom dollar that England will know that. They will know that KG and Unrick, if they can see
Mm,
KG and Unrick off, the battle is won. The
mm.
battle is over. It's finished. It's clear. Thanks for coming, and they'll uh,
Yeah,
Janssen. I like Janssen. I'm a big fan, but he's still fresh and new to Test cricket, and he's fresh and new to English conditions. So it's going to be you don't want him having to be the leader of the attack. So that's just stick to
it,
the
it's
stick to
similar.
your plans.
It's similar to what the India series was. I think in that first test that India won, you felt South Africa went to the short ball very quickly. And somehow Centurion has been flatter than normal, than what we were used to, and they kept on getting punished by. It was KL Rahul that time, and his opening partner, I don't forget, but I forget his name. But that was my issue with South Africa, is that when things don't go well, we will go to the short ball very quickly. We try and bounce them out. We try use the physicality like our rugby team, whereas it's more about still keeping it up there. And I think Duan's change in style and lack of being an enforcer is a testament to the types of pitches that we're going to see there. I looked at, because remember, in the week where we were, I think, started playing the T20s, it was the heat wave. And there was a 4-day game at Lords. Middlesex was playing, and I think they scored like 2,000 runs. It was ridiculous. But my one thing around the batting, I was like, guys, nobody can get anyone out. Which brings into the other argument. Your friend might come in later, but anyway, um, if they score 600 on you, right? They're scoring 600 in no time, which means that in your third innings or your second innings, whatever it is, you've got more time to get the 600. And what hurt us prior Bazball when teams scored 600 is that they took time out the game for you to be able to effect the win. So effectively, just you are sitting duck. Whereas
There
here
was
they've given
there,
you
there was
more
there was
time.
yeah there was one
So
result you could get. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
whereas now all three results are still on the table. They just got it quicker. So it's like, oh yeah, sharp, cool, we've got time. So that's the thing. So I'm excited to see Anderson and Broad. do their thing against our batting lineup. I'm scared, but yeah. But like, yeah, that for me, like England's bowling attack is, I think we're underrating them a little bit. I think in England they're overrating them, but I think in South Africa we're underrating them a little bit. I still think our bowlers will get there to be compared to be at their level and be better, but it will take time. I just don't want a first test. Oh no, Proteas are like this. We lose the first test. I don't want that. World Test Championship does not require that. And this is your, and to me, if I'm Mark, I'm like, we're coming back here next year. So get used to the change room, get used to the how things are, because there's no reason why we can't believe that at this point in time. But let's
Yeah.
talk team changes. We're gonna talk the team, and we're gonna talk through the areas that we're doing. We're gonna put up our teams that we want in, and I'll read them out for our podcast listeners. And then we're gonna go through them. So Tim and I put down a Proteas Test 11. You can see it on the screen. But for our podcast listeners, Tim went Dean Alger, Sarel Avia, Keegan Peterson at 3, Rassie van der Dussen at 4 to replace and then Ryan Rickleton to replace Temba Bavuma at 5, who's out for the entire series. Carl Verreynne at 7 as the wicketkeeper. He went Marco Jansen or Simon Harmer because of the pitches until they get to see what actually the surface is. You kind of can go either way. Kesha Maharaj, Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Giti, and Anrich Nokia. Fingers crossed for a thing. On my end, I went Dean Sarel, Keegan, Aiden at 4, with Rassie at 5, Ryan Rickleton at 6, Carl Verreynne at 7, and then Keshav, Kagiso, Lungi, and Anrich to round out the team. We all have our differences, but let me say this. Let me ask you, Tim. Your team looks stock standard. Ryan Rickleton coming in. Why Ryan over Kaya and Aiden?
Okay. Simply put, the runs that he's made before the A game in English conditions and in the manner that they were made means that for me, Ryan Rickleton has to be in the 11. You could make an argument for Kaya. I understand it. I was really impressed with the way he played for his 86. I freely admit that I'm also looking slightly towards the future. So somebody who I think can be there for the next 8, 9, 10 years, potentially. That definitely played a part. In terms of Markham, yeah, I get it. The 88, no doubt, the only player to make any significant runs in that second innings. That's, he did play well. My worry, though, and it happened in both innings, that he had, from memory, 5 LBW appearances turned down against him. The majority were probably not out, and it was difficult for one to see on the live stream, but it was the manner of which they came about. And he plants his left leg across the right foot, so he plays across the line, which is why I've got huge concerns with Borden and Anderson, who will be a lot more accurate than the
I saw
A
that.
guys.
I think I sent you a message about it.
Yeah, and I just it gives me nightmares. Now, he could make runs, but he could also make absolutely zilch. And for me, so that's why I've gone. I just saw time and time again the frailties. In terms of Ryan on the A game, yeah. Look, I'm disappointed in particularly in the second innings, because the first innings, the first bowler, first bowlers happen. It's a good delivery. I think that Ollie Robertson will play at some time for England in the series. I thought he was incredibly impressive. To see him back for England, huge plus. But as I say, the runs he made before this game, averages 77, and the manner that he tends to play his cricket as well, tends to be on the attacking side of things. So it's a good riposte to England's baseball. Um, so yeah, that's certainly my thinking. Um, in terms of, can I go into the Janssen Harmer situation?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's a simple one. It's simple. If the pitch says don't play two spinners, we don't play two spinners. Simple as that. Simple as that. If the heat has actually made it a lot more sort of Indian type, if you get my drift, it will never be like that in England, but you get my drift. That's played a part. I mean, it has been exceptionally hot in England. Exceptionally. 35, 36 for 3 or 4 days. Um, Lords doesn't tend to be massively conducive to spin bowling. It has to be said. But
Yes.
again,
If it's
it's
flat, like what are you gonna do?
huh?
If it's flat, what are you gonna do?
Janssen. If it's flat, Janssen plays. Janssen is the next guy, the next star in terms of guys coming through. Um, he's further developed than Sapamlo and Stearman. He has the ability to bowl that short ball that is quicker than you think. He's quicker than you think. He sort of labours through his crease, but he's a lot quicker than you think. Whereas Stearman and Sapamla are pretty much stock standard, decent guys, but nothing. There's no shock factor, shall we say, in what they have to offer. Also, I think you will get enough runs from either guy. They're both very, very, very capable number sevens / eights. You can offer enough in terms of batting.
I think it's a spot too
So,
high, but I hear you.
but as I said, it's purely pitch dependent. The pitch says play two spinners, Harmer plays. The pitch is flat, Janssen plays.
So from a bowling perspective, no surprises. Keshav comes in. Well, Keshav, Lungi, Kagiso, Anuf. That's stock standard. You just hope that they can get you need early wickets, and you hope they can make the breakthrough with that. And it's a much better effort than the Lions, right? Or against the Lions.
Certainly. Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
So I think on my end, I looked at this and I kind of felt like I wouldn't do this normally, but I don't ever believe South Africa should play in a test match with 5 bowlers. I really don't. But I do admit the injury risk with this lineup is very high. But for the sake of argument, I had to go with this. Because obviously Kagiso's is fitness questions. Arnold's got fitness questions. So you kind of have to go with that third teamer and Marco Jansen, which kind of makes that 7. And I think your side is much more likely to be that. But I wanted to give Aiden Markham another chance. Everyone thinks I don't like him. I know that when it comes to talent, he's got all the talent in the world, but he's been given a lot of rope in this format. A lot of rope. And I want to give him one extra piece of rope to do it. Whether he hangs himself with it or whatever he does with it, it's up to him. So I picked Aiden Markham in the side largely because I kind of felt that you needed somebody in the side. And this is the one knock of South African Test cricket over the past year and a bit, is that you go Dean, you go Sarl, you go Keegan, and you go Temba. Those 4 are very slow batters. They can push it up, but they take their time, right? And I know I said I wanted guys to take their time, whereas Aiden has the ability to be able to bat at a higher tempo, much higher tempo than Rassie. So I didn't want to top 5 with Ryan coming in at 6 of guys who are batting slowly. And that's why I had Aiden at 4, kind of being and you kind of saw that in that 88. He was being very aggressive in his play, and he got successful. So you kind of felt that, okay, maybe there's something here. And I think the South African cricket public all wants to see Aiden at 4. I say he should go to the back of the line, but because Aiden's ancestors work for him, he's in the UK, in the test side, while Yanaman Malan is playing for Middlesex. So that's where my...
Peter.
No, Yanaman. Remember, Yanaman was the one who dropped himself to 4.
Yeah, Peter is at
playing
Middlesex.
for Middlesex. Oh, yes. I saw pictures today. Okay, they look alike. It's weird.
Peter.
Okay, I thought
Peter.
that was okay. Peter Malak. Okay, cool. But Yanaman should be there. If you're looking for fours, it's Yanaman, it's Kaya, and it's Aiden. I would go with Kaya, but the inexperience in that side is glaring, and that was the other reason why I kept Aiden. I'm like, the guy's played Test cricket for like 5 years now. I look at that, I'm like, Saddle's new. Dean's been there. Saddle's new. Keegan's new. To England. Both of them. Well, Saddle's played, but he hasn't played at this level. Russie's experienced enough, so you have him in there, even though his test match count is very small. Ryan Rickleton, if you want Ricks in there instead of Aiden, you'd have 3 people playing their first ever test match in England. Wait, has Russie played a test in England? I don't think so. We'll have to look that up. But you catch my drift.
Yeah.
And that's where my alarm bells go up. So for that, and to also counter Bazball, I want to go with 7 batters. Batting is going to be, if we lose this test match, it's not going to be on our bowling. It's going to be on our batting. Even though England will score 670, South Africa's inability to bat for a full day is going to, because that's how you beat bat. You bat for a day and a bit. You need to bat for 5 sessions. You need an innings where you bat for 5 or 6 sessions. You need to do that to force them to play this way that they want to play. You don't want them to just jump in and play it when you've been rolled out for 2 sessions or 3 sessions. You need to bat for 5 and 6. And the only way I can guarantee that is if I have a number 7, that's a Kyle Verreynne. Or if you want to drop Aiden Markham to 7, by all means, knock it up. I'm happy. But that's where I'm at. So I need a team that can bat for 5, 6 sessions in an innings, and I think that's the 7 that I've put up there. Alga, Avia, Peterson, Markham, Van der Dussen, Rickleton, and Verreynne. Ryan Rickleton deserves a shot on the side. He shouldn't be dropped for anything else. He's played 2 tests, I know that, but he's the domestic player of the year. We saw that at the CSA Awards last year. The guy needs a shot. And I know if he's not going to play and you pick Aiden, and the moment a batting collapse happens, Twitter's going to be, where's Ryan Rickleton? Ryan should play. So, play it. I know it weakens the bowling. I know that. And the only reason why, if KG was fully fit and we didn't have any issues, if Anuk was fit and we didn't have any issues, I'd be okay with going with the 3 bowlers. I would. I think the ICC should change it. I think you shouldn't be hamstringing teams for injuries. If someone gets injured, bring someone else in. Like let's have equal and fair contest. Teams can't lose matches but it's a risk I'm willing to take. If one of my bowlers breaks down, it's fine. Like, dude, we'll lose the test match, we'll come back, then it's fine. Like, there's nothing I can do. And the other thing that Aiden's there for is, should that situation happen with the England Lions again and they're on their way to 672, you employ T20 fields, you just throw it up, he loops it up, and let's see if they can clear the boundary. If not, they get caught on the boundary. Like it's like break in case of emergency. And this is how I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to go into predictions. If Aiden Markram bowls in the first 50 overs of this test match, and it's not let's see what a right-handed spinner is going to do, bowls like 4 or 5 overs, we are in trouble.
Yeah,
we are in trouble.
Yes.
Like there's nothing more to it. Like it's a simple thing of Dean's run out of ideas.
Yeah.
If he bowls himself, because he doesn't want to bowl himself anymore. So that for me is the thing. But prediction wise, I think we've given everyone their teams. What's your prediction here, Tim? Going into a test match. Actually, let's do this. What do you do when you win the toss? Because England have been disrespecting the toss. They were like, no, we want to chase. But who's chasing in test match cricket?
Yeah, look, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because you're coming up against somebody who's doing something that is so out of character when it comes to test cricket. It is so out of the norms of what we've experienced for the last 139 years. It is so. It is like the IPL test cricket. It really has. And it's a small sample. I grant you that it's a small sample, but it has really shaken up a lot of teams now. It's shaken up World Test Champions New Zealand, it's shaken up second best team in the world, probably India, and it's really caught people unawares really, and people haven't had an answer. So it's very difficult to come up with any sort of prediction. Um, I will just stick to the norms and just say, listen, boys, I trust you. Go and score 400. Go and score 400, 450. If you don't, well, we'll fall back to our bowlers, which we've been doing for 4 years. We've been doing that for 4 years anyway, so, that's just... But I don't want to put undue pressure on them. I don't want to put them bowling first, and they're 300 for 2. Then I don't want that. Then we would really... Was that mentally, the damage mentally that I will do to them and the team is far-reaching, rather than if we
that's a 3-0.
Yeah,
That's a
rather than
3-0 series.
if we skittled out for 200 on the first day. I can deal with 200 on the first day. I can deal with that. I can't deal with 300 for 2 on the first day. I just go mad. By the way, Rusty has never played in England, by the way.
So yeah, that goes to my argument. Like, don't be surprised if Aiden walks in. The guy's timing is impeccable. Like, the best ability is availability, and he is just constantly available. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, I want to know what he does. Like, he's that guy. He's like there. Like, he picked up bowling. He somehow was in the squad when Reese's wife was giving birth, and he's made millions off of that. I really do hope that this is the moment where Aiden's at number 4 becomes the thing. And he makes more money out of Test cricket than ever before, and he stays in this team. And he goes on to score about 6,000 runs. Okay, he's already on I don't even think he's on 2,000 Test runs, and he's been there. But maybe he gets to about 7,000, AB de Villiers range. Maybe, hopefully, it gets there. Like, I wish him all the best, but like Oaks, if there ever was a player who gets protected, it's him. Vian Mulder needs to understand how he can become Aiden Markram. Like, you just always need to be there. Yeah. Like, I can't believe the selection meeting is going to be like, no, this guy dropped as an opener, struggled in Test match cricket, but gosh, that batting lineup looks bare, hey? Yeah, actually, just put him in. So that's my thing. That's my thing. But win the toss, bat first. Bat for the dot. Honestly, guys, doesn't matter if Jimmy Anderson is putting it in that channel. You only play a ball that you think is hitting your stumps. Please. Off stump. 6 sessions. We're coming back. We're going to reassess. Even if it means bat to T on day 2. God damn it, bat to T on day 2. But make sure you give yourself every chance that you do not lose this game. That's how you count it. Like, even if you bat until day 4, and you're like, guys, we're done. We're okay. We scored 1,000 runs, 1,200 guys scored triple centuries, quadruple centuries. You have to force England to win the game with the ball. You cannot allow them to win the game with the bat. So they need to bowl you out. There's no declaration. We're not even considering declarations. If it's lunchtime on day 2, we're not talking declarations. It's bowl us all out and then some. Because we know the threat that they pose with the bat. And you need to put yourself in the best situation where they feel that they cannot win the game even if they put the accelerator. So kind of like a Pakistan-New Zealand test match in Dubai, where they didn't want to give anybody anything. They just scored like 600, and it was like the most boring thing you can do. Do that. And then see if you can't nick them off 120 because they're going too aggressive. And then you come back again. And that's the only time I'll agree. If we score 500, when we bowl them out for 120, I'm putting them back in again.
Yes. Yeah.
If there's a follow-on, I'm putting them back in. I do not want a 4th day. It's 30 overs. They can do it.
No.
You don't want that drama. Yes,
Yeah.
the only time
I
I'd
don't
say
care if
B.
it's I don't care if it's 36 degrees. I don't care. Don't care. Deal with the heat. Deal
Yes,
with it. You're South
and
African.
yes, if there is a follow-on opportunity, there's only difference for me with baseball. I'd take it. I'd take the follow-on. I'd make them bat again. Even if they score 700, whatever, they can score 1,000 runs. I know in the fourth innings, I can control the game better with the bat than with the ball. And I think that's been the lopsided thing about cricket is that it's much easier for captains to control the game with the bat than with the ball. Because you can literally take time out the game with the bat. You like imagine trying to stop England from scoring runs. You still have to bowl the next ball. Like it's weird. Like how do you stop a team? How do you restrict a team in Test match cricket from winning a game when they are being aggressive outside of taking wickets? You can bowl like that wide channel, but that's like they can still kill you. So I think it's better for South Africa to control the game with the bat, but I still want them to bat first and put England under pressure on day two to make because everyone in England is going to be expecting them to do something to make the play. Are they going to try wait for the fourth innings or they're going to try do it in the second innings? Force them to do it in the second innings. So you put up 450, force them, like the England Lions did and put up 620, force them to do it in the second innings. Because at least you know how your days are going to go. And if you've got a day and a half to bat the full day and a half and try to keep yourself in the game. But that's me. That's going to be Lords. But from the experience and everything else, I'm so worried, Tim, that these kids are going to be like, oh, wow, it's the first time. It's such a long walk from the dressing room. Oh, Lord, the bell. Oh, no, the hill, the nursery, Jimmy Anderson, Jerusalem. Oh, wow. But Kagiso's been there multiple times. Lungi's been there multiple times. Anuk's been there before. So I'm hoping that the bowlers in this series carry this team. They've done that for years. We just need them to do it a little bit more. And then hope that the batters get used to the conditions, which aren't that bad because it's like playing in Paarl or in Kimberley on flatter tracks than you would normally get with a little bit of bounce, maybe Bloom, but there's no movement in Bloom, and see what you can get. But I'm excited. I think we could do it. I'm worried about Jimmy. I'm worried about Stewart. I'm worried about Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow. But what England have proven to us is if you keep everybody else silent and Joe Root's the only one, you have a chance.
They have weaknesses. They also have weaknesses. They've got weaknesses at the top of the order. Zach Crawley.
Creepy. Give me
Zach
creepy.
Crawley. I mean, come on now. What's his test average? Like 26. His first class average this year, and that includes with his county, is 22. It's 22, and he's playing test match cricket. Ollie Pope, I think Ollie Pope's a very exciting player. He's averaging in the 30s. He's averaging in the 30s.
They'll tell you he scored 100. They'll tell you he scored 100. But I'm in there, that guy is, I don't see a difference between him and Aiden.
So there's
been given opportunities.
There are weaknesses there. There are weaknesses there. And the other weakness, like with us, their fast bowling reserves, because of their injuries, are not as strong as they think they are. So if we can get
that for 6 sessions,
if we can get Jimmy or Broad injured, they're in trouble. They are in trouble. Both old men. Jimmy's now 40 now. 40 years old. 40 years old.
You know, I asked Dean a question in a presser after the England-India win at the Wanderers, and I asked him what his processes were in that chase because they kept on going very quick, and he was like, "Look, it doesn't change. I want to bat until over 35. When I bat until over 35, I know I've put my team in a position." Dean, can you see the second new ball, please? We want to see the second new ball with you and Sardal there. Okay, maybe not one of you and maybe number 4.
If they do 85 for naught, like it did in the first innings, job done.
Yes,
job done.
That gets you 400.
Literally job done.
Yes,
they saw the new ball. They got us into a good position. Okay, we had a mini collapse, but the point is they did the business.
We still got to 400.
You know, yeah.
And for me, get me to 430 that puts me in a position to win the game. Yes, then the question would be England, it's up to you. Which innings do you want to blow us away on? And then we'll decide how we're going to handle that. 430 forces it to be the second innings rather than the last. You don't want to be playing around 300 because in 300 they'll be coasting along going, no, we can bat normally at a slightly higher tempo. We'll get to 300, or even if they have a bit of a lead, we know that whatever they get in the fourth innings, because they won't, because the thing for me is England know that in Test cricket right now, no teams can bat for longer than a day, right? Or even a day in a session. So if you put that back on them, they need to figure out another way to win the game. They have to then go at a much higher and a much even more aggressive rate and be more aggressive in the second innings. Be aggressive in the second innings. That's what we want England, because then in that fourth innings, if they want to be aggressive again, I don't think they have it. I don't think they'll have the time. And it gives you enough time to make sure that you declare at T on day 5. And there's rain around. So yeah, T on day 5. Like that's like I don't want to see day 4 10 over 1. We wanted to crack at them. There's no cracks here. We're not giving people 100 overs now to get 400 runs. We're giving them 50 overs to get 400 runs. Even that's like, oh, they just did score 400. I think
they just did it. Like, they did close to that.
Oh yeah,
they could do that. That's the problem.
Yeah. So like this whole sporting declarations out the window, guys. Out the window entirely. But Tim, thank you very much. I don't want to. We know you're gonna ask for South Africa to win. Say South Africa's going to win, but all the best to you and the Proteas and everyone else watching, because it's going to be a really, really fun time watching this unfold. And it's Bazball, McCullum's aggression against Boucher's stoic, just stubbornness, because that's what Boucher was as a player. So it's going to be quite interesting to see those two. So outside of that, remember, you can catch the games on 1WSR.com. We'll be doing the whole simultaneous feed with the UK guys. We've got our commentators there as well, bringing the stuff. I'll be on. I think Dave's on. I don't know if Tim's going to be on sometime doing that thing. So do catch us. It's like a remix of
it's a joint compilation.
Yes, a joint compilation. But outside of that, thank you very much. All the best and goodbye, everybody.
Just hold on. Just a general thing. Just like us, share us, and do all that stuff. 1WSR, One World Sports Radio, on iTunes, on Spotify. Give us a recommendation. Give us 5 stars, even if you think we're not worth 5 stars, because it helps others find us. It helps others find the podcast. The more people that listen to us, the better.
Look, if you have a bad review, the best thing would be just give us the 5 stars and keep it to yourself. Outside of that, goodbye and good night. Have a great day, everyone. Cheers.